Today, the Midwest Grognards are refighting the Battle of Shiloh in 6mm. We will be using the rules Altar of Freedom and playing it on a terrain board that was custom built for the scenario. In 1862, after the Union victories at Fort Henry and Fort Donelson, the Confederate Army under the command of General Albert Johnston withdrew from Kentucky and consolidated at Corinth, Tennessee. Union General Ulysses Grant marched south and camped at Pittsburgh Landing, 20 miles away from Corinth. There, he waited to be joined by the corps of General Buell. On April 2nd, General Johnston learned that Buell's corps was near Savannah, Tennessee. He embarked on an ambitious plan to strike at Grant's forces before they could be reinforced. The march north to Pittsburgh Landing was slowed by rain. By dusk on the 5th of April, pickets from the Union and Confederate forces were exchanging fire. Despite this, the Union commanders were certain that the Confederate troops were still camped at Corinth. At daybreak of the 6th, they will learn just how wrong they were. The Confederate forces, under General Johnston, consisted of 4 corps. General Ulysses Grant, commander of the Union Army of Tennessee, had at his disposal 6 divisions. One of these divisions, under Lew Wallace, began the 6th of April north of Pittsburgh Landing and arrived too late in the day to take part in the fighting of the first day. In our recreation of the battle, there's a chance that they may arrive sooner. Grant also had the support of 2 gunboats, the USS Tyler and the USS Lexington. General Grant himself was upriver at Savannah, Tennessee at the start of the battle and would arrive later after he heard the gunfire. The Battle of Shiloh is the first scenario in the Altar of Freedom rulebook. It's a small scenario and makes it easy to try out the rules without painting a lot of figures. We made 2 small changes to the scenario as written to further represent the surprise of that morning attack. First, rather than the Union choosing how to deploy their divisions, they were randomly placed in their deployment zone. Second, when Grant arrives, he only receives half his command points. Then, his command points will build over the next 2 turns. This represents his need to gain situational awareness. The morning of the 6th starts peacefully enough with the USS Tyler anchored near the western bank of the Tennessee River. That peace was shattered as the troops of General Johnston burst out of the trees, surprising the troops of Hulbert's division. Let's talk with each commander and hear their plans for the day.
Good afternoon. My name is John Kaliakaitis. Today we are recreating the Battle of Shiloh in 6mm. I am representing General Albert Sidney Johnson as the Confederate commander, and my overall strategy in this is to basically going to do a grand left hook flanking maneuver. I'm going to keep them busy in the center, and then send my best commander on the left side to flank around and basically take the river landing and deny the Union a victory.
I'm Andy, and I'm playing as Grant today with my son as divisional commander, so it's going to be a lot of fun. There will be repercussions if things don't go well. We really want to reinforce Hurlburt, and we want to get a gun out in front of Prentiss. So we took Wood's brigade and attached it to Hurlburt, and we put the gun, Markgraf's battery, kept it independent, put it out in front of Prentiss. Goal here is to slow them down, is take as much of their time as we can to hopefully stay alive until dark.
The divisions of Withers and Ruggles fell upon Hulbert's division. Well-placed artillery fire from Mann and Markgraf's batteries helped mitigate some of the damage from the initial assault. Nonetheless, Hulbert was driven back to Shiloh Church, and this gave Hardee's division the freedom to begin their flanking maneuver. However, at 8 o'clock, Grant arrives, and that gives the Union an opportunity to react.
Feel free to Union, drink up more.
We're going to need to numb the pain.
All right. You ready?
Everybody's placed priority points.
Yep.
Roll for initiative.
How many did you add?
I added 1.
I added 3.
The Confederates win initiative and continue with their plan to flank left. The Union are able to give Hulbert some relief, with Prentiss joining the line. McClernand and W. Wallace's divisions are able to use the road to move into a reserve position. Sherman's artillery, with support from the Independent Battery, as well as Mann's Battery of Hulbert's division, have hindered Confederate movement.
Figure out where.
Oh, yeah.
Those Navy boys must be real sad they don't get to shoot anything.
I'm not going to tell you anything because we got an hour.
We've done, in effect, 2 hours or 2 turns worth of battle. So far we're proceeding with our left flank. They're reacting to it, which is according to plan. However, due to some unfortunate circumstances, their artillery shots, basically they've gotten very, very lucky with artillery and just stopped us on fully implementing our plan. We are negating that this next turn. Other than that, we're still on track.
Battle's unfolding very well. We have Hurlbut's division has done a great job of getting them all deployed and tying them down. Mann's artillery battery has done amazing work in breaking a unit and pushing a couple of units back. So we're feeling pretty good. Now, we do need to actually get some units deployed into the woods in the next turn or two. But at 0900, we're pretty happy.
At 0900, McClernand moves to block Hardee in the woods, and Wallace moves to a reserve position. The Confederates continue to put pressure on their left flank, and Sherman begins to probe forward in search of the Confederate right flank. All that remains now is whether the Confederates can push back the Union forces now that they have secured their flanks and are in strong positions in the woods. All that before Sherman can make a nuisance of himself on the Confederate right flank.
It's a landing and you take it and you win. I've seen Ender's Game. I know how this goes.
At 1000 hours, the Union form a cohesive line and commit Wallace's division to support Prentiss. Sherman finds himself unopposed and decides on a left flank of his own. He detaches a brigade with support from the cavalry of Prentiss's division. Their target, the headquarters at West Corinth Road. After using some of Grant's copious priority points to move the detached infantry and cavalry units at the end of the turn, they are now within striking range of 2 Confederate headquarters. The only thing in their way is a recently broken Confederate infantry brigade, but it fails to rally and routes away. At the start of 1100 hours, Sherman moves first and sends his detachment to destroy the camps of both Bragg and Polk, while moving the rest of the division to threaten the Army headquarters of Johnston. General Breckinridge personally leads the Confederate infantry brigade in an attempt to stem the Union tide, but he failed to make any headway. With the 1st and 2nd Corps headquarters destroyed and the remaining 3 headquarters threatened, Johnston orders a withdrawal back to Corinth.
Yeah. I moved as fast as I could to the extent of my movement every turn with bonus move at the end of the turn, and I could only get here.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I
Meanwhile,
realize
all
is
Daniel had to do was get,
Yeah, I just,
he just had to get up the road and deploy.
if you guys want to try this again, he can refilm it again. I'm willing to try, not today, but if you guys want to retry it sometime, I'm willing to do it.
The Grognards enjoyed playing this scenario. It gives the Confederate players an interesting tactical puzzle, and it tests the Union players' ability to react to a developing threat. Like most gamers, we like to tweak the rules and scenarios, and we are thinking about more modifications to how quickly Grant gets access to his wealth of priority points. If you enjoyed the video, we'd appreciate it if you hit the like button. If you want to see more of how I paint tiny figures, subscribe to the channel. Let us know in the comments what period you'd like to see next. Until next time, go big or go home.